What did you miss at Jubilee today? Well, you missed the rain, although you probably didn't because I think it's raining almost everywhere. Um, you missed the last Sunday with the choir before they take their well-deserved summer break, and it was beautiful. We have been so blessed, so fortunate with our choir and our musical director over the last year. We've asked them to do things they've never done before. They've stretched and done well, they've just done so much to enhance our worship and to create a way for us to connect to the presence of God, to feel beyond simple words. They've transported us and supported us in our worship. And that happened today. But today we focused on the story of the woman who's been hemorrhaging for 12 years, and her last great hope is to reach out and touch the hem of Jesus' garment, believing that she will be healed. That story is also surrounded with the story of Jairus looking for healing for his daughter, a 12-year-old girl who is sick, and by the time he gets to Jesus with this news, she in fact has died. And Jesus goes to the house, and Jesus restores her to life. But an interesting thing happens that as he approaches the house, he is challenged and explains that she is not dead, she is but sleeping. And the mourners who are gathered outside, they laugh at him. And that struck me as something peculiar, that they would laugh at the home where there is so much grief, knowing that the father is standing right there, knowing that the mother is inside, and knowing that this death is minutes, maybe hours old. The grief would be so raw that those around could laugh seems cruel and disconnected. And in fact, I imagine that it is disconnected, that the mourners are not really connected to the event. They are simply going through the motions. And there may indeed be a cautionary tale for any of us who go through the motions, do things out of obligation. We find ourselves in relationship, not expressing our love or devotion through a relationship. We find ourselves doing the same things the same way all the time, never realizing that those around us aren't in fact dead. They are alive, and we miss out on that engagement. We miss out on the life. But Jesus walks into our lives, into our homes, into our kitchens, and says, hey, pay attention. And we best not laugh. We best engage. But we then came back to the woman who reached out. A woman whose life culturally had little value. Throughout her productive years, her childbearing years, where most of her community would find her value, she has in fact had that life bleeding out of her, draining from her. She in fact has been made ritually unclean. She is untouchable. So she has nobody to support her, nobody to be with her. She is avoided. She has no place in her community. She has no value, the world tells her. And yet she reaches out to touch Jesus, a rabbi who she is now made ritually unclean by her act. She is sinning in what she does. But Jesus says to her that her faith has made her well. She is made whole, not by the magic of Jesus, although he feels it, not by the magic of his clothes. We don't believe that Jesus wears magic clothes. But Jesus tells her it's by her faith. And when you get right down to it, even though she may have had no other option, in that moment, what she believed was that she could be healed. She believed that she was worthy of healing, worthy of wholeness, even though the world has told her that she's not. There are people worse off. There are people more deserving. There are people more important. But she doesn't listen. She dares to reach out to Jesus. In faith, she reaches out to God and discovers that she indeed is worthy. And she is whole. And I don't know that any of us live her life. Some of us might. But I think all of us recognize those voices that tell us that we're not all that important. There are people who have it harder than we do. There are those who suffer more. There are those who are more important. And it's easy to begin to believe that perhaps we're not really worthy of wholeness. But this story puts a lie to that. We need to believe that we are worthy of God's time and God's love. Not deserving, worthy, because God has made us worthy. God loves us. Jesus is in our midst because we are worthy. And when we dare to reach out, when we dare to believe in our own value to God, more than the voices all around us, we are made whole. At least that's kind of what we did today. That's what we shared. And we're sorry that you missed it. We missed you, but hopefully we'll get to see you next week. God bless.